Hi there, it's Jenny from Southern Savers. It's Monday night, and our weekly gladly tell you when I would wait, or if I would go ahead and grab them now for those items, or even how to find deals on them. Always happy to be a personal shopper anytime I can. And if anything, guys, I cringe when I hear people share that they just did something. I'm like, oh, you just did that and you didn't ask. You should have asked. So please ask away if you want to know how to save on something. Happy to help. So that's where we're going to go tonight. Let's dive in with what are the big sales to at least, mentally mark your calendar for, or literally mark your calendar for. So first off, summer really has kind of already started. Summer really begins in the beginning of May. We see all that summer stuff basically as soon as Easter is over. Summer sales have started, but we have three-day weekends that are considered in that summer window. So Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day. Labor Day is the end of summer. Boom. After Labor Day, we are now in summer clearance mode and we are moving on to winter as fast as we possibly can. So if there's a big ticket item, we're talking furniture, mattresses, large ticket items, those are 3-day weekends. That is what I'm always going to tell you. If you're like, hey, Jenny, I want a deal on a mattress, 3-day weekend. That's what you're looking for. Those are the biggest sales that we see them run. Now, some of these mattress companies kind of run the same general price every day of the year, but we really do see a discount that is more than the general price on those 3-day weekends. So don't miss that one if there is a big ticket item that you're waiting for. Again, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day being those. And it's strange, but July 4th is technically better for mattresses in particular. It's probably not a huge difference, but everyone does tend to say the more patriotic the holiday, the better the mattress deals. I don't know why, but just to tuck that one away, July 4th technically takes the lead there for the best weekend to grab a new mattress, if that is on your list of things that you need. Now, there are a few other big sales during the summer. So to put one on your radar, and this one I can't give you a definite on, but that big one is Prime Day. And I wouldn't bet the life of any of my children on this, but I'm pretty confident on this one that Prime Day will be July 15th and 16th. It's a Tuesday and Wednesday. Prime Day is always a Tuesday and Wednesday. It's always over a 48-hour window, and it's usually that second or third week in July. They've had it the third week in July now for 2 years in a row. So sticking with past trends, July 15th and 16th probably are magic days for Prime Day. Now, you may be thinking, Jenny, I don't have Amazon Prime, so that doesn't matter to me. Everybody and their mother comes out for Prime Day. So we're going to see Walmart, Target, Ulta, Joe who makes cookies down the street. Everyone tries to come at you with their version of Prime Day. So if there are things on your list, this is a good time to be shopping. The plus side for Prime Day too is really it is in the heart of back to school season. So if there are some larger back to school items that you want, I actually wouldn't run out as soon as the sales start. I would wait for that Prime Day week, and you're gonna see hopefully some of the biggest discounts that you can on those back to school items. So just to, tuck those dates away, even if you don't have Prime, that is going to be a big week for sales. What we also see is while Amazon goes for 2 days, most every other store goes for a 4-day window. Some of them go for the whole week. They're like, whatever, we are going to just beat Amazon at its game. So look for that. Look for a bigger sale window at pretty much every other store. So I'll definitely put some marks on your calendar around that week in July. If you want to go to the beach, just sit on the beach and shop the deals. But don't forget to at least look at the deals that week if there are things that you need. And let's talk back to school for just a minute, because that is a big piece of summer. It isn't what you want to think about during summer, but back to school deals, they literally start July 5th is what it feels like. This year, it's going to be Sunday, July 6th. So it's always the beginning of a week. That is when most stores, when you open up the new Target weekly ad, or you open up even Walmart's little flyer that they put out, it is going to be back to school, July 6th. So it's whenever July 4th is over, that next start of a week. If a store doesn't start it on July 6th, July 13th, everyone has started. Some of that is because we've seen more and more school districts go to either year-round school or starting earlier in August so that they can get out by Memorial Day. Well, that should push up July 4th and, all of our back to school shopping, but it really can't. Stores know that until July 4th, you are full on summer mode. So we won't see back to school bump in any earlier, but you will see as soon as July 4th ends, all of back to school is on sale. Now, that also may not matter to you. You may not care about back to school, but it does tell you a different window, and that is summer clearance. So a good chunk of our stores, Target being the largest here, will put all of that back corner, all of that summer gear, as soon as July 5th hits, that summer gear is now on clearance. Target needs that corner clear like 12 hours after July 4th. They want it gone so that they can get that whole back corner of the store, you know what corner I'm talking about, set for back to school. So mentally put that one, in your list of things to watch for. This is usually killer deals on patio furniture, gardening supplies. It's also really great deals on pool supplies, floats, towels, that whole area. If you've been in a Target in the last 6 months, you can kind of imagine what's in that back corner. All of that is going on clearance the day after July 4th. So just be ready for a fast clearance and a fast turnaround this year, as they're kind of tight on how much time they have to clear that area. We see other stores do this too, but this is really a big brick and mortar. That's what we would say. So it's not always an online clearance. It really is your local store who's needing to clear space for that next big sale or next big event. So while we will see online summer clearance, even from Target, we won't always see online summer clearance as low or as many things as we will see in the local store. The same for Walmart, though Walmart does not use the same amount of space for summer as they do for back to school. So it's a different area of the store. It's a really big Target one in particular. I'm trying to think if there are other stores that do something similar. Well, we'll see it a little bit in our drugstores, just not as much. They already have a devoted aisle to back to school items, but a big one to mark for Target for sure. Okay, let me jump over to comments. You guys have already been so chatty and I love it. Hello to everyone. I'm sorry, I just dove right in with all of my dates and all of my sales. So it's good to see all of you, Wendy and Anna and Dee Dee and Danny. So many of you guys, Karen and Lily. So Carrie says freezer month. What month should I buy a freezer? The summer is a good window for that, Carrie. I would honestly still wait for those 3-day weekends, and some of the best sales that we see are those 3-day weekends at Best Buy or Sam's. They will put freezers in on their 3-day sale events online and in store. So really just shop that one online if I were you. Throw in some cash back if you want to, but those are going to be some of your best deals on freezers. The other tip for any of those, so if you're in appliance mode, which is a big one for 3-day weekends, anyone that's in appliance mode, is to remember to try to match the promotions that are running. So if you find a great price at Best Buy and Lowe's sells it, let's meet the price. They'll all price match each other on the same item, but they will definitely price match each other's promotions. So if one of them is offering free delivery and free haul away, you should get another store to match that. If I'm going to head over to Home Depot and that's what Lowe's is offering, try to take advantage of that, because that delivery and that haul away can really start to add up. Another big one on appliances, guys, is with the haul away, if it isn't free, you need to do your homework first, really. For appliance haul away charges, before you go shopping for an appliance, you need to call your trash pickup folks or your local recycling center, whatever you've got in your area, and see how they work with appliances. In my area, As long as I call them and I say, hey, I have a refrigerator that I want to send to the dump, I can do that. I need to call them first. I give them a heads up. They actually tell me what day they're going to send this special truck to pick it up. So they don't want me to put it on the road until that day. And they do have some rules, like they want the doors off of the refrigerator so that no child can get stuck in there. So follow their rules, but it's free. There's no charge for that refrigerator to be hauled away. Where Lowe's and Home Depot is going to charge you. What they're charging you is the fee that the dump charges them to take it. But if you already pay for trash pickup in your community, there's a great potential that this is already really part of a service that you pay for. So make those phone calls before you go shopping for the appliance so that you know, wait a second, I don't need to pay that $50 haul away fee. I got that handled. Thanks though. And hopefully you do. So that can be a big savings too. Okay. And then Michelle, I probably already answered your question, but Michelle says, I need a new mattress. When is mattress season? So that one is our 3-day weekends, and July 4th in particular as one of the best weeks that we see. I don't know that it'll be a huge difference between Memorial Day and July 4th, but very good sales over those 3-day weekends. And the plus side there, by the way, on mattresses and furniture and appliances, all three of those, because they're such large ticket items, these stores know that you aren't always ready to make a decision right then. So the July 4th sale in a lot of these stores for those large appliances and large furniture items is really a week long, if not a week and a half long. So it doesn't mean that we're waiting right up to July 4th. It really could be that you're starting to hit those July 4th sales like July 1st, or even possibly a couple days earlier. They're trying to stretch that sale window as long as possible because they know that any good shopper has hopefully put some thought into this, is not necessarily going to sign on the dotted line in one day and one visit. So they're going to give you that longer window to make that decision, but it really means for you, maybe you don't have to wait quite as long to make the purchase. Like that Memorial Day window is going to open up even earlier. We're almost there when you start to look at that, right? Memorial Day is kind of early this year. I think it's on May 26th. So you bump that forward half a week and it's May 5th. So we really are almost there. So hopefully that will help you as you're looking for those large ticket items. And Tim Man Lover says, what about juice pouches and Gatorade for the summer? You can. So when it comes to grocery items, that's a really great question. Grocery items, other than baking goods and Christmas, Easter type items, they really don't follow super seasonal sale cycles. So we're going to keep seeing hot dogs and hot dog buns on sale all summer, sometimes more frequently than the 6 weeks I would normally tell you. But those items, I don't need to go crazy. It's not the last sale that I'm going to see for the whole summer. I really can just grab them what I need for the next 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm going to be set. For juice and juice boxes, you could stock up if you've got some big events, but you really are going to see those sales roll back around. Now, after Labor Day, in case you're a hot dog lover, we don't see a ton of hot dog sales after Labor Day, which is kind of strange because we do go into football season, but we go to a tighter, kind of a longer window on grilling items. So you could maybe stock up there if you wanted to. We'll still see them on sale, but it'll go to about 8 weeks on a lot of those items for specific brands. And yes, so Carrie is chiming in a tip for back to school items, since we did mention back to school, and we'll get there as we get closer to July, but definitely have in the back of your mind for all of those back to school items that you stock up for the whole year. And whatever the list is that school gives you, it is not enough. So you need to maybe even double those items so that you have enough for the spring. There is only one back to school window. It is about 6 weeks long at most now. So you want to make sure you've grabbed whatever you need during that 6-week window. Or you're going to be very frustrated when you have to go and buy full price supplies outside of that window, or you won't. That's where I am. I'm like, guys, you got to make do. If it's the last pencil, I don't know, we're doing math and pen, which, causes me some grief, but that's what I'm going to do. We're not buying pencils until it's back to school season. Okay. Let's see. So close, just checking through. We're remodeling our bathroom, Stacy says, and just started pricing vanities. They're really expensive. Any thoughts on getting one at a better price? So we will see those items on sale. I don't know where you are or what your window looks like there, Stacy. So I'm guessing if you've got some things torn out, you would probably like them in sooner rather than later. So at least be willing to shop around, maybe not places you would consider. So Wayfair, for example, does sell vanities online. I could have something delivered. Wayfair is actually currently running a 2-day clearance sale right now. So you could see if vanities were included. If you're up for doing some DIY work, I would encourage you to check out the Habitat Restore. They are going to sell things that people have taken out of their house and you can then repurpose or refinish and put into your house. In terms of Lowe's and Home Depot, we actually see them run 1-day sales on vanities a lot on their website. So that's where I was like, I don't know what your window is or how long you can actually shop vanities, but I may actually just make a morning alarm on your phone, Stacy, to every morning remind you, oh, let's see what the today only sale is at Lowe's and Home Depot. Because vanities roll through at least once every 2 weeks. And there's a good chunk of options there. Singles, doubles, different colors, different styles. So there's a chance that you're going to find something you would like that would be on a good markdown on that 1-day sale. So I don't know if that helps, but that's a little bit in terms of hopefully finding a deal on those particular items. And Darlene, best time for a Blackstone grill. So that's a great question. Let's talk grills, lawnmowers, all of those big things that we really think of for summer. So actually the best time for a grill isn't during the summer. It's a lot like, our Christmas clearance. The best time to buy your Christmas decor is not before Christmas, it's after Christmas. It's the same for those grills, for those lawnmowers. Those are really great items to grab after Labor Day. I know that's not what you want to hear when summer has really barely started. You're going to find some sales, and definitely on those 3-day weekends, but our lowest price is finding those clearance items. For that clearance, I would even keep an eye out on places you don't normally think of, but Walmart and Target, they do sell Blackstone grills. They don't usually have a ton of them, but when they are ready to move them out, they are ready to move them out. And Walmart does, that whole lawn care section does go to clearance after Labor Day because that is where they want to take over that whole outdoor section to put in all their Christmas decor, or Halloween first and then Christmas. So come Labor Day, we will find some good clearance items on lawn and grilling items, even though you're going right into tailgate season. But they really need those items gone for Christmas and just making room. So if you can hold out, that's what I would encourage you to do for that particular grill. Okay. And awesome, Stacy. I'm glad that you have a bigger window. So yes, keep an eye out on the daily deals for sure. And check Wayfair today. If you see something on Wayfair today, though, with their Wayfair clearance sale, they are kind of predictable. So while it may be on clearance now, they run some pretty good sales on a very regular basis. So if you're not quite ready to buy, even with, it's on clearance this second, I think with Wayfair, you'll still be surprised and you'll see some prices roll back around. They also follow the same sales that the other stores do. So we have really great Memorial Day, July 4th. They follow Prime Day, all of that for Wayfair too. So don't feel like you have to dive in tonight and grab that for sure. Ooh, Carrie. Great question. Cheapest beach to visit in the summer. You're like bringing in travel. This makes me so excited. So what I would tell you is the cheaper the beach is always the least crowded beach. And I know for some people that's not magic words. For me, just an example for South Carolina. Most people think in South Carolina, oh, Myrtle Beach. Well, guess what? Most people in South Carolina do not go to Myrtle Beach. It is crazy packed. It's also a lot more expensive. If that's your cup of tea, then there's not much I can do. Go to Myrtle Beach if you want to. But usually the smaller beaches that are the quieter beaches are actually the cheaper ones to go to. So In our area, there is a beach that is actually about an hour and 20 minutes south of Charleston. It's a little tiny island in South Carolina called Edisto. There's not even a Walmart within like an hour of this little tiny island. That's how quiet it is. There is a little tiny Food Lion on the island, but those are some of the cheapest rentals that you can find if you're looking at renting a beach house. There's not even a hotel on the island. But that's where you're saving money. You're getting away from the people and the tourists. They can't charge the same rate that they could charge on a busy island right outside of Charleston. The more things that are around the island, obviously, the more value the island has. So that's what I would encourage you to do, no matter what your state is. Those are examples for South Carolina, but we see the same for North Carolina beaches and Georgia beaches, that quieter beach, usually the cheapest option. And Georgia's not really known for its beaches, but I'm not going to choose Jekyll. I would probably actually choose Tybee. Tybee doesn't really have any hotels. Tybee has a number of houses and condos that you can rent. You are kind of outside of Savannah, but it is actually cheaper than heading down to Jekyll or St. Simons. These are where my in-laws live. So I know the Georgia beaches well. I'm from Florida. If you want me to go through all the Florida beaches, I am just a East Coast kind of person. But you guys know your state and you know your quiet areas. That's where you're going to get the cheapest prices for any vacation. And also consider, if we're really talking summer beach, I need you to go now. I don't know how you feel about that, but the cheapest beach rental is while school is still in session. So definitely, if you can go before Memorial Day or right in that Memorial Day window, or hold your beach vacation until mid-August, you are going to get a much better price. Now, I know, Carrie, you said just a second ago, I'm a teacher, so that's probably not possible. But for everyone else, if you can hold it and not travel during during the school vacation windows, you will always get a deal. Whatever that travel looks like, summer travel is always more expensive. And yes, oh, you want me to go through Florida? I can do Florida for you. So quiet beaches in Florida would actually be staying away from anything in South Florida. I don't even know. I know you live here in South Carolina near me, so I don't know that you'd want to go that far down. But Amelia Island, which is right outside of Jacksonville, is a good place. Jack's beaches are also not that expensive. I would even encourage you to go more panhandle into the Gulf versus the Atlantic, heading over. Absolutely love St. George Island. It's a very quiet little beach right outside of Tallahassee, about an hour outside of Tallahassee. I might have grown up there, but very inexpensive place as well compared to other beach options. If you do want to go to South Florida, looking on Sanibel, which did get destroyed a couple years ago from a hurricane, but has been rebuilt. But all of that in that South Tampa or Fort Walton Beach area, closer but on the Gulf, is still very affordable. And for those of us that may not live near Florida, just to put a bug in your ear, there are a lot of cheap airlines that fly nonstop to South Florida airports. So it may not be the way you normally would look at going to a beach, but there could actually be some beaches that are not that close to you, but are actually pretty affordable to get to, playing around with Spirit and Breeze and Allegiant now, all flying even out of our little area. That might open up some other options for you if you wanted to go down to Florida beaches. Okay, so we are heading to Savannah on the 21st this month. I would have so many recommendations. I used to live there and work at one of the hospitals in the area. I don't know where you're going to be staying in the Savannah area, but I would 100% recommend the Hop On, Hop Off trolley tour. It's a great way to get yourself oriented to the area. If you're not familiar with Savannah, you definitely have to do the River Street. Just walking the River Street area is beautiful, but it's just really a neat little area in that downtown stretch. Other things for downtown Savannah, I think it's still open. I would stop into Lady and Sons. It's a little bit pricey, but if you save up your pennies, it's a fun place to eat. And back in my day, I think they probably still do this too, but if you ask your waitress to sing a song, they will literally just stop and belt out a song, which is super fun. So that's Lady and Sons. It's owned by Paula Deen, who used to be a Food Network person, or used to be owned by Paula Deen. It's been a long time. If you like animals, there's Oatland Island, which is a really cute little nature animal. It's not a zoo. It's much more natural than a zoo, but it's a neat little stop. And then Tybee Island is right there. There's some forts on Tybee that you can see as well, which is kind of cool. I could keep going, but those would be the top of the list for sure in the Savannah area. Okay, and yes, Karen, I did not mean to stop. There are so many places in Florida, but St. Augustine is absolutely beautiful. Anastasia State Park is incredible. And one plug for Florida State Parks, there's actually a lot of options in the Florida State Parks to actually stay there. So if you are looking at going to beaches, that actually opens up some cabins for you. I mean, there's tons of camping. If you're wanting to do a tent in Florida in the summer, you could do that. But the state parks have other options as places to stay, and that can be really, really affordable. Florida has a lot of state parks that are all along the water. So you could just live in your camper and travel the coast of Florida just doing state parks if you wanted to. And I agree. John, though I can't remember you're not actually John. Emily, am I getting that right? John Smith and Emily, I think, his wife, or we should just rename you because that's what my brain wants to call you tonight if that's not your name. Yes, the Gulf of Florida, some of the prettiest beaches around. So, and that's where I grew up. I didn't even go and see the Atlantic until I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I just lived in the Gulf and was happy as a lark with no waves. The Gulf is very quiet. Okay, so lots of travel there. And Carrie has one more travel question. I know that, yes, we have gone to Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg. Is that worth going to in the summer? That is a very hot area. I would actually put that off for a 3-day weekend in the fall. It could be a very fun one for Labor Day weekend, Carrie. I don't personally think I would love Colonial Williamsburg in the summer. A piece of that, though, is that I would highly encourage anyone looking at going to Colonial Williamsburg that you actually have your kids and you, if you're up for it, dress in period dresses or make dresses that look kind of period. That's what we did. My mother made them. So shout out to my mom for that. I can't take any credit. But if you are in period clothing at Colonial Williamsburg, all of the characters that are in period attire will talk to you as if you live there, as if you are part of the community. And our girls loved that. I mean, it just made it come alive. So at that point, you're now wearing very hot clothing for the middle of the summer. So that's really where some of my advice is coming from. Like, I want you to get the best experience, but that means wearing some very uncomfortable clothing in the middle of June and July in Virginia. So I probably wouldn't go in the summer. I would go towards the fall if I could. And both times that we've gone to Williamsburg have actually been over Christmas break. And they go all out for Christmas with some really neat, old-fashioned, timely Christmas decor for what would have been there in the late 1600s, early 1700s. So it's kind of cool to see as well. Okay. Oh, good. I did get your name right. I'm so glad. And Mrs. Wilkes Boarding House for a great dining experience. So that's the other one. So Lady and Sons and Mrs. Wilkes would be both great ones. Thank you, Jeannie, for chiming in on that one. And there's a lot of other places to eat too. None of them are super affordable when you're down in that River Street and kind of just the old city district section. So pick one, splurge on that one fun place, and then try some other places that are maybe a little cheaper, or bring your own food. Okay, back to other things for the summer, because I could talk summer vacations all night if we wanted to. Let's go into some other things that we do see in terms of the sales of what we expect. So we've hit back to school and we've hit our big ticket items. One thing I do want to mention is kind of back to school, and that is electronics and computers. So I've already had one person ask me in the last week, I really need a laptop. Are there any sales? And if you need something right now, we are seeing some sales come and go. I did see that Office Depot actually through the end of May, while supplies last, is kind of clearancing and closing out a ton of laptops. So checking your local Office Depot or Office Depot online and seeing what they have, you might find some deals there. Beyond some clearance and some closeout or some one-day sales on Best Buy, who does also run daily deals just like Lowe's and Home Depot, beyond those sales, I really would encourage you for laptops to wait. We will see some sales on Memorial Day because it's a 3-day weekend and they feel like they need to include them. But your best sales for computers are always during back to school season. They beat Prime Day prices for laptops. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to hold out for Christmas season, no. You want to get any laptops that you can during those back to school sales. That's, again, starting July 6th, really going to run through like the second week in August. They don't run long. You'll see some stores stretch it out to Labor Day. Most are done. They've moved on to other things, a lot of times on to Halloween, because we start super early. Guys, seriously, I was in Hobby Lobby this afternoon and July 4th is right here. And on the opposite side of the aisle is Hello Fall. I am not there. I don't know where Hobby Lobby is, but they are 7 months ahead of where I am mentally. And that is where we always are with the sales. So don't wait too long on any of those back to schools, but with that computer window in particular, it's a tight one. So it's July 6th to mid-August and you want to jump on it. One other element for that computer is definitely to check your store's tax holidays. And I will plug in a link to those. I'm going to give you a link in the comments to last year's tax holiday post. Honestly, I just update it every year. I'll just give you a little tip there, a little, behind the scenes hint. But not a lot changes. These states, if your state had this window, it's literally going to shift by like one day. It's the same week every year. It's the same rules every year. We did actually see 2 new states jump into tax-free holidays last year. So that's pretty cool and could happen for some other states this year. I don't know, but at least getting an idea of when your state is. They may already have it published. A lot of times they don't. Sometimes I really have to dig to find those. But here we go. I will stick this in now for you guys so that y'all can, where's my button to be able to, there it is, to be able to chat with you. So hopefully that will help you. You can kind of see where those windows are and have an idea of what weekend to save in your area for back to school shopping in particular. If your state gives a tax-free window to computers, that's really what I'm wanting you to keep an eye on. If computers are included, then pairing that with a sale and getting no sales tax on your computer is pretty sweet. And you've really kind of double dipped. So definitely see, not all states do allow computers. Some states are very, very limited. You get like $100 as your total purchase, but some states do. Some states are very broad. You can buy up to $3,500 worth of a computer if you wanted to. That would be a massive computer. Even Apple MacBooks, top of the line, don't cost that price. So you get the idea. One other inside tip for those tax-free weekends too, if you shop online, you will still get tax-free on whatever you grabbed online, and all of them do not look at where you live. They look at where the item is shipping. So for example, if you live in Georgia and you have family that lives in South Carolina, buy the laptop and have it sent to your family in South Carolina. We have an amazing back to school tax-free weekend policy, or really week policy. Georgia doesn't have any. They got rid of it years ago. But as long as you're having it shipped to a location that has tax-free that particular weekend, you're going to get tax-free on the item. So kind of sweet and an easy way to save a little bit more on your computer if you can. And Carrie, Hobby Lobby probably does. I didn't notice the Christmas. It was just all fall while I was in there. It was a little on the insane side. No, you're good. We could do a whole summer vacations for sure. But what about a carry-on suitcase? So suitcases in particular, you will find a number of deals. I don't know that it necessarily follows like a 3-day weekend or anything in particular where they're special lower price, but I do have some places I would be on the lookout for them. So first off, Kohl's. When Kohl's is going to run their 30% or even a 20% coupon code, sometimes they'll even have a stacking code on luggage. That would make for some great prices. Kohl's does have some great options as well. But my go-to lately for luggage, I've actually grabbed 2 in the last year at TJ Maxx. So not sure if you have a TJ Maxx near you. You can also shop them online if you want to. But TJ Maxx sells some pretty nice name brand luggage. Like the ones the airline stewardesses are hauling down. Those are Travel Pros. They have crazy warranties on them. So those prices will equal what you would get at Kohl's with the coupon code, with the Kohl's cashback. So I would check Kohl's, see what you're looking for, but I would head to TJ Maxx and keep an eye on what their options are. Another one, if you have it in your area, would be Nordstrom Rack. It's like a TJ Maxx. It's kind of Nordstrom's outlet in a sense, though they don't call themselves that. But they also have a great luggage section and some good prices. I will say, and this is just from my husband, who does a bit with the local sheriff's department as a volunteer and has done a lot of courses with them. He is not a sheriff's deputy, but he just enjoys that side of things. He will never allow me to buy a suitcase at Goodwill or from any consignment store because he's like, you don't know what has been stored in that. And any drug sniffing dog will gladly tell you what has been stored in it. So I'm not saying everyone in my area has that in their luggage, but you don't know that. He's right. And nor do I really want to deal with that in the middle of an airport trying to explain to them that I got it at Goodwill. So that would be his security advice on luggage. But you could find some decent prices on some clearance items or closeout kind of items is really where they're going to be torn up at the Goodwill and the consignment stores in your area if you were really looking to. But hopefully that helps too. Okay. A few other things that I had on my list. He does have a good point. I agree. For me, I'm like, really? Are we always going there? But I get it. He's right. It is something to be concerned about in luggage. Now, there's something I actually want you to grab now. I put it at the top of my list so I wouldn't forget. 4 back to school items that you might be needing. If you've got a kid that is heading to college this fall, or I have a kid that's going into high school math this fall, I actually have some items I need you to be on the lookout for right now. Dorms are clearing out this week. I have 2 kiddos coming home this week. I'm very excited. So dorms are clearing out. School is over on the college side. This is your perfect time to be stalking Facebook Marketplace and other even free donating places. It could also be a great time to be stocking the Goodwills that are near a college campus for dorm specific items, mini fridges, microwaves, whatever it is that is on your dorm list, you can get some crazy good prices. These kids do not want to store this all summer just to sell it to you at the end of the summer. They want to get rid of it right now. I actually had to convince my 2 because they're like, oh, we don't want this chair next year. We're not going to use it. One of them is moving to an apartment. She's getting married. She's like, I'm like, honey, you take that chair apart and you bring it home. That is a nice chair. So, let's have the heart to hearts. But they were already like, I don't think I have time for a Goodwill run. They are eager to get rid of things. So it is your perfect time to pick up those items. So this could be furniture for dorm rooms or apartments, mini fridges, microwaves, graphing calculators. That's where my kid's going into high school math. This is a great time to pick up graphing calculators. Obviously, Facebook Marketplace, we'll see sales on them, but you're still talking $100 for that brand new TI-84 graphing calculator. I can promise you a college kid who just finished their last math class and never plans on picking another one up would sell it to you for $20 because they are so excited to be done with math. So keeping an eye, Facebook Marketplace, eBay even for these items, it's a great time to pick those things up as dorms clear out for sure. Another one is you do need to check your dorm You may not even know where they're going, but hopefully you do soon, what their rules are. But another big one can be loft kits. If your college allows loft kits, find what the rules are, but you will get some really good prices on those in the beginning of the summer, and then you can just have that tucked away versus paying full price for that loft kit in the fall. The things that we have learned in the last few years. Okay, going through my list to make sure I don't miss anything. So we've hit our big sales. I mentioned Prime Day earlier, but just to recap, if you missed that, Prime Day, I fully expect to be July 15th and 16th. That's a Tuesday and a Wednesday. It's always a Tuesday and Wednesday. And then you'll have all the other stores that match Prime Day in that same window of longer. But there is one other store that runs regular events, and that is Sam's. So if you have a Sam's membership, I would recommend that you keep an eye on your Sam's flyers in August. So Sam's regularly in August runs members events, August weekends, and they'll usually run 2 in the month of August, one in the beginning, one towards the end, with all sorts of things that are on sale for that August sale event. So many times it's the 2nd and the 4th. We'll see another one come, Veterans Day, and as we get closer to the holidays. But those August member events can be a fun time for some sales. You've already also got them putting all of their summer on clearance by then. So can really get some fun deals with those Sam's August member events / summer clearance items. And Pendar, you're late. It's okay. You can just start from here and then reverse back if you want to when we finish up. I love it. Carrie says her 6-year-old thought a TI-83 calculator was a phone. I mean, it could be. They're pretty cool little devices. There's all sorts of things you can do on them. But tell her to treat it gently. She's going to need it, or they're going to need it once they hit some school years. At this point, I've now acquired 4 in my life. I'm very good at used graphing calculators, or my husband, he's probably acquired more than I have of the 4 that we have. Ours don't end up ever not needing them, so we just keep having to acquire new ones. Okay, so let's hit some things not to buy. I mentioned that we don't see our lawnmowers and our grills on sale until after Labor Day. There are some other things that fit in there too. Air conditioners. So if you needed a new one, this is prime time. This is not the time to grab it. Sunglasses, we also see some better deals on those come this fall. Bicycles, it's considered a summer item. We see really great sales on bicycles around Christmas, but not in the middle of the summer. It's also, not always the best time to grab a new car. We're going to see all of the new car models that come out in September and October. I know half the world ran out and tried to buy a car in the last month. That's what the news tried to tell us, with the fear of tariffs. Really, we shouldn't be buying new cars anyway. We should be buying used cars. But if you are in the car market, just realize even a used car becomes a whole year older come September, because those 2026 models are going to hit the lots. And you buy a 2023 model, it is now 3 years old, not 2 years, come September. So even those old used cars become older and cheaper once the next year hits the lot. So it's just a tip in general. While you may be worried about tariffs, I get that. You're already buying a used car. It doesn't have a tariff increase on it. Just stick in the used cars and wait until fall if you can. Not right here at the end of summer or the beginning of summer. But another reason for that is that a lot of our used cars at the beginning of summer are really going to all the kids who just graduated from high school and from college. It's the number one graduation gift. I don't know who's buying it, but it is the number one graduation gift for kids. Maybe they're saving their own money and buying it. That would be the ideal. But it's not the best time for buying most of the affordable used cars. Those are going pretty quick, and supply and demand is not your friend. So waiting until September, even October, when those lots want to get rid of the older cars, we've got more new cars coming in, that's your time to buy, and you're going to be able to get a better price in that window. So just a big tip there. Hopefully you were already staying away from the new cars. It's never the deal. I was actually reading a book, trying to find a finance book to give to my engaged daughter. And I loved the way that one person put it in his book, reading an old book by Larry Burkett. Some of you may know him. He's really who taught Dave Ramsey, and we won't get into it, but he's a lot more logical than Dave Ramsey. So Larry Burkett, I love the way he said it. It's like, if you want to buy a brand new car, then just take $30,000 out of the bank and throw away $5,000 of it. That's basically what you've done, because that new car loses so much value in the first year. And I love it. It's a great way to put it. So lots of things there to stay away from until the end of the summer. There's two things that I hesitate on. I'm not a big person to purchase a swimsuit in the summer. We'll see some sales on swimsuits in the spring, right as the sales start. We did just see Old Navy run 50% off swimsuits today. So there are some exceptions. Old Navy will run 50% off swimsuits once a month. Every month. Tomorrow, by the way, I didn't tell you, but tomorrow is 50% off shoes at Old Navy. They run that once a month. But beyond those 50% off sales, I really would encourage you to try to never buy a swimsuit during the summer. Your best swimsuit sales are really in the fall and getting swimsuits for next year. And I know that's hard for kids and trying to gauge what size they're going to be, but if you've got an idea, or your kids kind of grow in a more normal pattern, I would encourage you to try, because you are going to get much better prices than just grabbing something off the rack or that 20% sale that you might see a store run. We're really wanting that 50% sale. So that is Old Navy today, if you can. Karen, good. I'm not the only one. Larry Burkett is the best. He is. So I didn't realize as I was reading his book that he died in 2003. But his advice it's still very relevant today, and a really great guy, very solid Christian. So if you don't want Christian financial advice, you won't like him, but it is very solid advice. Okay, let's see. I saw... you saw H&R Block software at Walmart for $1. I have no doubt you did it, because tax season's over. So Walmart and Target are clearancing out this season's tax information. It's not necessarily good next year. You would have to buy H&R Block again. They don't really do like upgrades to whatever you grabbed last year. They want you to buy a whole nother set of it, because really what you're paying for is the filing for those items. So I wouldn't ever buy clearance tax software unless you filed an extension. Then maybe that clearance tax software could come in handy, but for most of us, that's not the case. And in all honesty, for most people, I would actually urge you to check and see whether or not you qualify for a free federal file and maybe even a free state file, depending on where you live. That does encompass a lot of people. You may not realize that you fit in there too. And then you don't have to pay for anything. I don't need to buy a tax software. I can just do the free file. I've used Tax Slayer the last couple of years. They work in the list of free filing software. So if you fit in that, just tuck that name away. It's been a great one to be able to knock out some taxes for my older kids that have jobs. They still have to do their taxes too, but they don't need advanced tax software, and kids in particular, totally qualify for free filing. Your college students as well, they just aren't making enough money. So one thing that I would put on your list, if you've got it to buy during the summer, or to at least be looking during the summer, is houses. And not that I'm encouraging you to go buy a house. This is, if it's in the market for you. But summertime is one of the best times to either list your house for sale or to sell your house. And the reason for that is a lot of people are looking to move when school is out for them, so they can get their kids moved and then established into a new school if they're having to change towns or they're willing to change school districts. So summer is one of the most popular times for real estate agents. I know right now we've not seen mortgage rates really do anything magical. They're not moving. They're staying high. That isn't what we want to hear. But the plus side is if you're in the buying market, what we are seeing is that a lot of houses that have been on the market for a while with no bites are starting to really drop their prices. I would encourage you, if you are even slightly pondering moving, hop on Zillow, which is free, and just start looking randomly. Pick random cities, whatever you want to do. As soon as you look at a city or an area on Zillow, they will send you emails until the cows come home years from now for that city, sometimes even for a particular house if you just happen to click on it. Anytime that house changes value, I can't tell you how many places Zillow thinks that I want to buy a house. And it's totally because I am that person when we travel and you're in another city, you're like, ooh, how much is this area worth? I am not going to move there, but Zillow thinks I am. So this could be good though for people who are going to move because you're getting alerts every time particular houses or particular areas are having a drop in value, and it's helping you to see what's going on in the market in that area. So it only takes a second, pop onto Zillow, do some random searches, and immediately they're going to decide that you're looking in that area and you're going to start to get all those notifications. The emails can be annoying, but you can always filter them out if you don't want to see them too. But it is a good way to do a little bit of market research or have them do it for you, basically, if you're trying to get ready for a new house in the summer. And Carrie, thanks. Carrie's chiming in on a sale. So Once Upon a Child does 90% off clearance clothes in July. So Once Upon a Child is consignment kids clothes. And that's a great one to know of. Thank you, Carrie. We will see as we hit the end of summer, a lot of consignment sales for kids clothing. So in the past that was Tot Trade. I don't know if they are still around, but a number of them run August sales. So keeping your eye out for consignment sales in the fall as school's starting back too can also be a great way to get sizes for kids of all ages. And Tin Man Lover, I can... So Larry Burkett is the name of the person. I can try to pull up a book. You may even find some of his books on Dave Ramsey. I'm searching for it, and that's what Google pulled up was Larry Burkett versus Dave Ramsey. You could spend hours reading that. Don't go down that one. So what I would recommend is probably this guy. I'm going to stick one in on the chat now, but it's Larry Burkett's Using Your Money Wisely. It's very he walks you through all sorts of things, even down to investing, which might be more than you want to learn, but it is a great book. So I'm just sticking an Amazon link in particular in on the chat for that. That's just one. He wrote 70 plus books. A lot of them have been revamped through the years because he did die 22 years ago. But his ministry was Crown Financial Ministry, and that is still around. It's Crown, I think crown.org now, but they've revamped and rewritten his books to kind of keep them relevant, and it's great information. Okay, and oh, great. And Tim Lover is also chiming in for anyone that wants to, the Once Upon a Child also sells American Girl dolls and other things. So it could be a great place to also look for some toys and dress up type items for dolls, which would be great too. And Joel, it looks like I just answered your question too. So that author is Larry Burkett. And Dave has given credit. Most of Dave's core teaching is from Larry Burkett. I say core because then Dave started going off and making up things that we're off on financial advice, and that's where Dave and I start to disagree. But Larry Burkett is great and was a CPA, so has that background that is more financially savvy once we can actually get a hold on our money. And I'm not opposed to Dave, by the way. I actually have to have a sit down with some folks this week because it appears that I'm getting a heavy Dave Ramsey lover, and I think that the Lord has a huge sense of humor with that. He tried to teach me how debit cards work in the last couple weeks. So here's my hesitation. So this is like a 1 minute moment on why I hesitate for financial advice on Dave and why I point you to Larry Burkett, or there's other ones. Ramit is another one. Ramit is his first name, and I can't even remember his last name or pronounce it correctly, but he also has great financial advice, and he's much more current and not from a Christian perspective, just from a financial perspective. But the best way to think about Dave Ramsey is that he is like an Alcoholics Anonymous coach. So his information is targeted 100% towards people who are addicted to debt, who are massively in debt and need to get out of debt. And it's great. It's exactly what they need. And as one person said, it's a kick in the pants. I agree. But for the rest of us, if you can control your spending, if you're not in debt, if you can be wise and pay off your credit card every month, if you have one, then his advice is actually not always the best financial advice. His advice is to help you get out of debt. So we need to back up and find a financial planner who is going to give us financially sound advice once we're ready for it. And that's my hesitation. So let's go to Dave when we need Dave, and then let's back off and realize that Dave's advice is tailored specifically to a specific group. And beyond that, it isn't always the best financial advice, or pieces of it are. And the problem is that we end up with folks that just can't let go. And we need to take a deep breath, right? Okay, that's my Dave soapbox. I'll jump off now. But Larry Burkett is great, and he even tells you if you can't handle a credit card, don't get one. So, he's there too. But we can all find the right person for us. That should be our goal. Okay, sorry to go on a soapbox, but hopefully that maybe helps somebody. I don't know. We have hit a lot of things going through what to buy in the summer. There are one or two fun things. I know I mentioned earlier that you want to try to not worry about grocery items. They tend to run all year long, but I did put one, and I just put it at the bottom of my list. I just saw it, so I don't want to tell you wrong information here. So one that you may not be aware of, and this isn't really summer-ish, but we do actually see ice cream go off sale. And I know that's kind of a crazy concept, but we won't see a ton of buy one winter. So you're good during the summer, but I do want to make sure you're ready for that not necessarily right at the end of summer, but really when we start to hit winter, which is the beginning of November, mid-November. Ice cream's going to go off sale. It won't come back on sale on some significant sales until late February, early March, which is kind of like, wait a second, where did buy one, get one ice cream go? That's where it went. They're just assuming you don't want ice cream in the middle of the winter, and they don't realize that in the South, winter never showed up. We want ice cream all year long. But you can tuck that one away. You don't have to stock up on your juice boxes or your juice during the summer, but you do need to stock up on your ice cream in the winter. Okay, so next week, since we're right here at the end, I'm not going to do a Q&A. I'm actually, where I stand to do this is where I will have some blow-up air mattresses for 2 boys that are coming home with my college kids. So rather than making them sleep in the yard, which I probably should do, I am not going to take over their bedroom for a Q&A next Monday night. I will hopefully still get a drugstore video in next week, just so you're aware if you're wondering. I just don't know when. I'm having to work around boys being in town, which is so odd for a mom of 5 girls. But I will be on tomorrow with a drugstore video. So we will do a drugstore video at 3 o'clock, always Tuesdays at 3, going through all the deals at CVS and Walgreens this week. It's a pretty fun week. I will go ahead and tell you there's a pretty sweet gift card deal at CVS. If you didn't see it, they are running a $20 extra care buck on a $100 CVS gift card. I've never seen CVS run this before, so you should buy one if you are a regular CVS shopper. This is basically like your CVS budget for a number of months. I could get a $100 CVS gift card to last quite a while, and it could be a fun game for all of us. So that's one deal to get you ready. There's a number of deals at CVS and Walgreens this week, though. So join me tomorrow for all of those top deals. We're going to take a week off on our Q&A, but we'll be back not next week, but the week after, with our normal routine once all these boys go home and stay away. And with that one, I actually had someone recently send me a message, and I'm totally cool. We'll go straight to what they asked for. So years ago, I did a Q&A actually on planning for college and saving on college, even down to planning through high school. So we're going to do that. It can even go homeschool related, curriculum related, whatever you want to talk about, school related. I know it's right at the end of the year, but really this is where we have to put on our guidance counselor hats as parents, and we need to start thinking about the next year. We need to make sure we're ready. So that is what we're going to cover on May 19th. 2 Mondays from now is homeschool and getting ready for college, saving on college. Maybe it's just saving on higher education if you want to go back to school, but that's what we're going to try to hit on. Always happy with any other questions though. So if that topic doesn't work for you, but you do have some questions, feel free to jump on and just ask them. I'm always happy to answer any questions that come. So thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I will be back on tomorrow for those drugstores. Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing some last minute questions. So let me hit these. Carrie, do water parks do sales anytime soon for season passes? So with water parks, and I don't know what particular water parks you're wanting, a lot of times we see the best sales at the end of the season, and they throw in the next year with the pass. So this is not the time that they run the best sales. This is the time that they know you can buy it. It's the beginning of the summer. So that doesn't help you at this point in the summer, but you want to put kind of an alert out. You want to put out some feelers with friends who have memberships, because that's how we got the deal. Carowinds, who has a water park, or maybe it's Six Flags, whatever your water park is. Usually in those last few weeks that they're open, they will run a sale that is maybe even the normal price for a membership, but they're giving you the rest of this season and all of next year with it. And that's the deal you want. Definitely if you're looking at Carowinds or a similar park, because they have other things that are open even into the winter. So you're getting months and months added on to your 1-year membership with that deal. Okay. And my husband probably will be enjoying having some boys in our house for a change. It's going to be a very different feel. And can I use those gift cards on prescriptions? That is a really great question, Anna. I do not see why you could not use CVS gift cards on prescriptions. It's just a form of payment. I can't use Extra Care Bucks on prescriptions, but they don't really care how you pay for your prescription. So I don't see them stopping you paying with a gift card. Just as if I walked in with a Visa gift card, they don't care. It's just a form of payment. So while I don't have that in writing, I'm not pulling up any policies, I really don't see why it would be a policy to not allow you to pay with a CVS gift card on a prescription. And that's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. So great question, and thanks for asking it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow with all of the drugstore deals at 3 o'clock, or I will talk to you in a couple of weeks with our next Q&A on the 19th. So y'all have a great